Audio Jungle.
Everyone in Edge City makes fun of Stanley Ipkiss, the insecure bank clerk, except for Charlie Shoemaker, who happens to be his best friend and co-worker. Gangster Dorian Tyrell, who owns the Coco Bongo nightclub, is preparing to depose Nico, his boss. One day, Tina Carlisle, Tyrell's stunning singer-girlfriend, is sent inside the bank to take notes on the layout in preparation for a planned heist. Tina appears to be drawn to Stanley, and Stanley feels the same way. Stanley's defective loaner automobile breaks down on his way home, after he is refused entry to the Coco Bongo to see Tina play. He attempts to save a humanoid figure in the sea while staring over the harbor bridge in despair, only to discover it is really a mound of trash hiding a wooden mask. After going back to his flat, and when he puts on the mask, he changes into the Mask, a green-faced trickster with a zoot suit who can move and change both himself and his surroundings at whim. Gaining self-assurance, Stanley goes on a frantic rampage across the city, embarrassing himself in front of his tormentors, including his volatile landlady Agnes Peenman, and attacking the mechanics who gave him the malfunctioning car. He also takes aim at some street thugs, scaring them away with balloon animals before using a Tommy gun to get rid of them. Stanley meets newspaper writer Peggy Brandt and Detective Lieutenant Mitch Calloway the following morning. Both are looking into the activities of the Mask. Stanley dons the mask and robs the bank to get the money he needs to see Tina play, unintentionally stopping Tyrell from robbing the bank. Stanley and Tina dance wildly at the Coco Bongo, and Stanley ends up kissing her. Soon after, Stanley runs away from Tyrell for interfering with the heist, leaving behind a piece of material from his suit that turns back into his pajamas. Calloway finds the piece of fabric and assumes Stanley is involved after apprehending Tyrell and his goon. Stanley later speaks with psychiatrist Dr. Arthur Newman, who just wrote a book on masks metaphorically. He concludes that the mask's abilities are limited to the night, and that it could have been fashioned by the Norse god of mischief, Loki. Newman comes to the conclusion that the mask's personality is derived from Stanley's suppressed impulses, despite his belief that it is mythology. That evening, Calloway interrupts Stanley and Tina as the mask approaches them in a nearby park in an effort to apprehend him. After distracting the police with a group rendition of Cuban Pete's hit song, Stanley runs away with Peggy. She later turns on him to Tyrell in exchange for a $50,000 reward. Tyrell pulls on the mask, turning into a large, hideous green-faced creature. Before handing Stanley over to the police, Tyrell's goons make him divulge where the stolen money is. Stanley tells Tina to get out of the city when they meet at the station. Tina informs Stanley that the mask wasn't necessary and thanks him for his thoughtfulness. When she tries to escape, Tyrell kidnaps her and drags her to the Coco Bongo for a charity gala that Nico is hosting, and that is attended by the mayor and other prominent members of the community. When Tyrell arrives, he murders Nico and gets ready to demolish the club with a time bomb. Stanley enters the club and asks Charlie for assistance after locking Calloway in his car, but he is soon found out and taken into custody. Orange red. When Stanley and Tyrell fight, Tina convinces Tyrell into taking off the mask, which is then retrieved and put on by Milo, who fights through Tyrell's goons. After retrieving the mask, Stanley utilizes its abilities to flush Tyrell down the club's decorative fountain. The police then show up and arrest Tyrell's goons. The mayor steps in, accusing Tyrell of being the mask and hailing Stanley as a hero while Calloway tries to arrest Stanley once more. Exonerated and feeling more safe, Stanley returns to the harbor bridge with Tina the next day. Before Tina and Stanley have a kiss, Tina tosses the mask into the ocean. Charlie reaches for the mask to take it for himself, but Milo swims off with it.